Okay, so everyone is talking about AI. It's everywhere. But let's be real, how is it actually changing the way we build and interact with the web? Beyond all the hype? Well, in this explainer, we're going to peel back those layers and get to what really matters.
This quote, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We've all been there. You're promised the shiny new tech that's supposed to make your life easier, but instead, it just becomes a massive roadblock. And honestly, it's a feeling that's getting way too common in this age of AI.
So let me tell you a quick story. Picture this. It's late, you're on a road trip with the family, the kids are getting cranky, and everyone's hungry. The only spot that's open is a fast food drive-thru, but this one's different. There's no person on the speaker. The whole thing is run by an AI. Now, in theory, this sounds amazing, right? Super efficient, no mistakes, maybe even kind of cool.
Yeah, well, the reality was a complete train wreck. The AI had no idea what we were saying, it couldn't figure out a simple order, it kept timing out, and with the normal background noise of a car, a family just talking, it was completely lost. It was the exact opposite of efficient, just a total disaster.
And here's the punchline to the whole story. After trying and failing 3 times with the AI, the only way we could actually get food was to get out of the car, walk up to the locked door, and bang on it until a real person came to help. The very technology meant to make things smoother created a wall that could only be solved the old-fashioned way.
So, that drive-through nightmare, it's not just a one-off bad experience. It's actually a perfect little snapshot of a much bigger issue we're seeing all over the web. It's a problem we can call the hype-driven web.
And listen, this is not a small issue. A huge number of these really ambitious AI projects are just hitting a wall. The failure rate is actually kind of shocking. We're talking about 40%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a massive amount of wasted time, money, and of course, user frustration.
And here's the why behind that number. A big research firm, Gartner, is predicting that nearly half of what they call agentic AI applications, and that's basically just AI designed to do stuff for you, are going to be canceled in the next few years. The reason? A short-sighted approach that puts the cool, new tech way ahead of the actual human being who has to use it. So let's put a name to this. The hype-driven web is what happens when we just blindly slap an AI feature, like, hey, let's add a chatbot, onto a project without any real thought. We get so caught up in the what we're building that we completely forget to ask how it's going to work for a real person. And maybe most importantly, why would they even want this thing in the first place?
Okay, so what's the alternative to this mess? Well, it's about a big shift in our thinking, a move toward what we can call a more intentional web. This is a whole new way of looking at things where the focus isn't on the tech, but on what the user is actually trying to accomplish.
I mean, think about how most websites work even today. You know the drill. We as developers build these super rigid step-by-step paths. You have to click the nav menu, hunt for the right dropdown, click a button, fill out a form, hit submit. It's not really a journey. It's more like a maze we force people through.
And that's the real problem with the maze, right? It's designed with only one correct way to get through it. But human beings are complicated. What we want isn't a simple yes or no question. So this one-size-fits-all approach, it ends up not really fitting anyone perfectly.
Now imagine something totally different. Instead of a rigid maze, what if you had a web Sherpa? A guide that doesn't force you down a path, but instead just asks, hey, where are you trying to go? And then helps build the path with you to get you there.
So how in the world do we actually build this web Sherpa? Well, the key piece of technology that makes this whole thing possible is something called generative UIs.
To put it simply, a generative UI is an interface that isn't built ahead of time. Instead, an AI literally creates it in real time based on what you say you want to do. You just type or speak in plain English, and the interface builds itself for you. Now, this is the real game changer. The old way, using something called NLP, was basically just keyword matching. If you said birthday dinner, it would just look for the word birthday. But the new tech, large language models, or LLMs, they understand context. An LLM hears big birthday dinner, and it gets it. It understands you need a restaurant with great reviews that can handle a party. It's a giant leap from just matching words to actually understanding what someone means.
But hold on, does this mean we just let the AI go wild and build whatever it wants? No, not at all. And that's where a really smart technique called restrictive UI generation comes in. The idea is, first, designers and engineers build a library of approved safe UI components. Then, when you tell the LLM what you want, it acts like an assembler, putting together a custom interface for you using only those pre-approved building blocks. So you get all the power of AI, but with the safety and control of traditional design. It's the best of both worlds.
So this all leads us to the path forward. It's about a pretty fundamental shift in how we think. Building for actual humans, not just for the hype. And it's all guided by a few core principles.
Okay, so let's circle all the way back to that AI drive-through. If you were trying to solve that problem with this new intent-driven mindset, what would you do? Well, here's the crazy part. The answer is you probably wouldn't build an AI system at all. Because the first question isn't, how can we shove AI in here? The first question is, what is the absolute best experience for a hungry family in a car late at night? And sometimes, the best tech is no tech.
This whole thing really boils down to a few key rules to live by. First, test your stuff in the messy, chaotic real world, not some perfect lab. Second, make sure your tech actually helps the user. It doesn't get in their way. Third, always give users a way to tell you what's working and what's not. And the big one, always start with the human need first, and then go find the right tech for the job.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. What if we stop thinking about the web as this place that we have to click around and navigate? What if instead it becomes a dynamic experience that truly understands what we're trying to do and literally builds itself around us in that moment? Now that is the real promise of an intentional user-first web.